Alright troops, today I'm going to be sharing some tips on how I paint up Dale. So recently I picked up 2 commissions and they both just happen to be full armies of Dale. I think in the last month I painted about 80 to 100 Dale warriors, so I'm a bit all Daled out if I'm honest, but I thought I would share with you the tips and tricks I learned on the way to get these painted up nice and fast. Now, I will admit this is the first time I'd ever painted any of the Hobbit era models. Before this, it was all the old Lord of the Rings stuff. And I got a bit of a surprise. I didn't realise how detailed these new kits are. The detail on the kits is just a level above the old Lord of the Rings ones. I was pretty blown away if I'm being honest. Although they still are single posed miniatures, they are much more dynamic as they usually come in multiple different bits you have to glue together rather than just the individual guy you stick in the base. Now this may be a bit sad thinking back to the Hobbit era stuff, and I didn't buy any myself. I was kind of out the hobby at that point, and I know it didn't sell that well, and this is why Games Workshop stopped doing the plastic kits for the Lord of the Rings and just did everything in the old Failcast. I really wish these kits had done well back in the day and I'd maybe bought some, because the detail is incredible and I would have loved to have seen plastic kits for all the Battle of Five Armies stuff. You know, just think of the Mirkwood Elves, Gundabad Orcs, Iron Hills. If that had all been plastic, oh, that would have been a great time. So now the problem we have is these models are so detailed and have so many intricate little bits, which makes it almost impossible to paint fast. And when you're doing a massive batch of these, you want to do them as fast as possible. I just assumed it would be the same as the old Lord of the Rings stuff, but boy was I wrong. So after doing a few test models, I finally got into my rhythm. What I'll do is I'll show you what I ended up settling on for Dale, because I think you could actually paint these up quite fast now. It's all about doing it in stages and doing as much of the model as you can before using a wash, so it saves on time. I will talk about different painting techniques further in the video. Once we've done a few steps, I'll maybe get into the nitty gritty of all these other techniques I see people using and why I don't like it. Right, first up, before we get started, I need some new brushes. Look at the state of these. I don't think there's a single pointed tip on any of these brushes and I'm fed up struggling to paint. I really should invest in some good brushes, but for now, these £6 set from Amazon, that's 50p a brush. I know I don't take the best care of my brushes, so if I just buy cheap ones, I'm not too fussed when they break. What I think I'll do is keep all my old crappy dry brushes in my jar here, and I'll put all my good brushes on this Best Armies runner-up thing I got from Sterling. Dave loves a good bribe. So, one of the techniques that I use when I'm batch painting is I like to incorporate as much of the base colour scheme into the base coat as I can. So I will base coat a miniature the colour that is mainly on the miniature. So for a lot of historic stuffs, I do like a tan, because you can just wash that and that's the uniform done. For Dale, the majority of the miniature is brown. So if I start with the Hydrax brown base coat, I don't even need to do a base coat layer. I just wash it. First, what I do is I paint all the details that are going to get an Agrax wash. So on the Dale guys, I'll do these little tassel things in a Steel Legion brown, and I'll do a flayed one flesh on the kind of cloth on the arms. Once that's done, I'll just give it an all over coat of Agrax before moving on to the next stages. So next up is the red cloth. I am going to be dry brushing the cloaks as well, so I want to get them out of the way fast. Then do a base layer of Stormhost silver on all the metal. Because these shields have a kind of silver embossed, what you want to do is do a really light dry brush so it only catches the edges of the raised details. It's the brown wood in the centre of the shield. The other option is to individually paint all the different lines of silver on these shields, but if you're doing 60 guys, you will want to kill yourself. So I'm going to go with a dry brush because it gives pretty much the same results for a fraction of the effort. So we then do a crimson wash on the cloak. When that is dried, we do a Nuln Oil on all the silver parts. So let's address the elephant in the room, which is my kind of techniques and my philosophy on painting and wet palettes and too thin coats and all that stuff. That is the worst elephant costume I have ever seen in my life.
What was that? Yo, you're the fucking cheap that wouldn't buy a fucking elephant costume! Fucking prick, man.
So, for those of you that have been following me for a while will know that I don't use a wet palette. I used to use a wet palette for a little bit. I felt that by the time I had my wet palette set up, all my paints on it, ready to go, I already couldn't be fucked painting. So I scrapped it because I would rather just paint from the pot and actually do some painting than sit and fucking waste time setting up a wet palette and not paint. Like, I can totally see the advantage of it. If I wasn't lazy and I actually had some motivation to paint all the time, I would use it because I can do the wet blending the paints and stuff like that. It's fantastic, but it just doesn't suit my mental capacity. I like to just get stuck in because if I don't, I would never start. It's just one more thing to procrastinate about, and I don't need that, so I don't use it anymore. So you'll also know, if you've been on my channel for a while, that I don't use the whole two thin coats thing, and I am a big batch painter. So for example, I've got these Mahood guys here. Apart from the kind of test model that I used to replicate the commission's ideas, I will paint these all in one go. I don't like doing batches of 3, batches of 5. I just want everything done in one go. So if you go back and look at some of my videos, I did 120 goblins in one go, 80 to 100 Galadrim, 50 Easterlings, you know, some of my older shit videos. I did these massive batch paints, and if I had to do two thin coats on a batch of 80 models, I would slit my wrists. So that's why I don't do two thin coats, because if I had to do this brown on all of these miniatures and then go back and do this brown on all of these miniatures again, that would be plain torture. That's what that would be. If you have the patience to do that, I commend you, but I don't. I am a lazy bastard. So what I've developed a technique called wash your coat, or wash your jacket if you're Scottish. I think that if you do a single coat, wash it, and then dry brush it, it looks just as good as doing two thin coats, a wash, and then a highlight. Because the wash hides the imperfections in the first layer. So if I do... So I've got a wee elf here. I can't remember which brother this is, but it's one of them. And I just throw on, you know, one thick coat, straight from the pot, straight from the fucking pot. Don't even bother. So you can see in this coat that there are kind of darker bits and lighter bits, and that's because of the inconsistency in the pigment in the paint. And two thin coats would give you a nice solid colour, but I think, why waste time doing two thin coats when you do a wash over the top of it, which, you know, you're going to do a wash anyway. So why do two thin coats when you can just wash it once, and that will get rid of all the imperfections. And I also think it's an advantage if you use a wash that's the same colour as the material. Some people use Nuln Oil for everything, like blues, greens, blacks, blah blah blah. But I think if you use the actual coloured wash for the colour, so I'm using crimson because it's red, it gives a better result.
One eternity later.
So now the wash is dried, you can see what I mean. You can't see any of the imperfections in the coat because it just looks like the wash has settled into the recesses, blended it all nice together. Even later when I just do a quick wee dry brush over the top, just a quick wee one over the top. Are you seriously telling me that you would think that the two thin coats would have made that any better? I do not think so, and it would have taken double the time. So it's just not for me. If you have the patience to do two thin coats, well done. Your miniatures will probably look a lot better than mine, and you have the patience of a god. But myself, when I'm speed painting, I just don't think it adds that much for myself. Maybe for the heroes, I would think about doing it, and I probably do it. But for the rank and file chaff, you know, these guys over here, there's no way in hell I'm going to be doing two thin coats. Because I think that's turned out nice enough as it is. And that's all one coat, wash, the same technique. One coat, wash, dry brush. Even better if you can, like Dale, if you can incorporate the base coat as the first layer. So it's just wash then dry brush, even better. But for these guys, I actually need to do a base layer.
So in a future video, I will go over contrast paints because I also think they are a great addition to speed painting and the hobby. But I'll cover that in another video. I do have my Harad video if you are interested at the moment. But anyway, I've been waffling on long enough, so let's get cracking with these Dale boys. The cloaks for the Dale guys are more of a kind of muted dark red, and the highlight has been done by just mixing white into the original corn red base coat. When highlighting red, you can go two routes, and in this one, GW has gone with a kind of white rather than a yellow. So if you highlight cloaks up with oranges and yellows, they'll look more a fiery red, whereas these cloaks are more a darker, muted kind of crimson, so we're going with the white to highlight these. I'm just doing a very light dry brush across all the cloaks. I'm undecided on cloaks. Sometimes I think they look better when they're edge highlighted, sometimes I think they're better when they're dry brushed. I think it depends on the detail on the model. The more detail the model has, the more I prefer to dry brush it. And I think that is because the older kind of models don't have as much detail, so the edge highlights pop more, whereas in these new Dale figures, they're very, very, very detailed. So I feel like dry brush gives a more natural looking finish. These are just my personal opinions when it comes to painting cloaks. It could just be that I am trying to justify using a dry brush on a cloak to myself to save time. So next up, we want to do all the bits that are going to get the Reichland flesh wash, so we can do that in one go. This is quite simply just a little bit of Cadian flesh tone for the skin, followed by the old favourite Retributor armour on the gold. Now, on the Dale, there are loads of intricate little gold parts, especially on the boots. There's all these different fancy patterns and stuff. I find when it comes to these kind of things, the boots are probably going to be less looked at, so just make sure you get the most pronounced golden details and the eye will catch these, so you don't need to worry about missing every single little bit of the pattern. Just give it a little dash of gold and your eye will do the rest. We then use the Reichland flesh. I don't know what it is about Retributor armour, but you should always give it a wash of something, whether that's violet, red, flesh. There's something about matting down a gold and then highlighting it up later. It just gives it a much better finish than just leaving it as gold on its own. I use Liberator armour to do the highlights later on, and it just makes the gold look so much better. I use a bit of Cadian flesh on the face and slowly add in some flayed one flesh to it just to kind of do the final highlights. Faces and bases, make sure the face looks good and the base looks good, and the miniature will look fantastic in a big giant battle line. Then to finish off all the brown on the miniature, we are going to be using Mournfang brown to edge highlight all the little details on the brown parts of the miniature. Gloves, coat, belt, scabbard, shield, etc. Then to do the white kind of fluffy bits on the miniature, I use Administratum Grey. I then give this a wash of Apothecary White. Before giving it a dry brush / kind of stippling effect of any kind of white. This helps bring out the kind of little details and the fluffy bits, and it looks like a nice puffy hat type thing for all the cold weather. Again, what am I talking about? I don't know, lost track. Now to kind of finish the model off, and I think this bit what really makes the Dale figures stand out is the kind of yellowy bit round the cloak, and to do this I've gone with XV88 and then I've given it a Reichland flesh wash before adding in flayed one flesh to the XV88, and this bit will drive you fucking insane if you're painting up 80 different guys, because you need to individually highlight 4 different kind of strands of this cloak. But if you do this part properly, the same as when I was doing my Lothlorien elves, I focused on the cloak It really does make the miniature look so much better if you take your time over these kind of intricate details, because it really catches the eye. So then we do the base to finish the miniature off. This commission piece wanted black base rim followed by a single kind of green or brown tuft. Another little detail that helps is to get the Moonfang brown and pick out the little bits in the helmet that are brown. There's just so many intricate little details in these Dale figures, so they really are impossible to speed paint, but this is as fast as I could get the technique down to. I ended up painting about 100 of these, maybe more, in a month. There's also lots of freehand on the cloaks on the Games Workshop ones, but if I was to paint that, I would have to charge a lot more and they would take a lot longer and probably wouldn't have been ready in time for the tournaments they were needed for. For the amount of effort it would take to paint freehand on all the cloaks across 80 plus guys, I don't think it really adds that much to it. I also done the knights, the command and the heroes in the same manner. The banner was to be painted purple by request. The purple has actually worked really well with the white gold emblem. Painting up 12 knights in a batch nearly killed me. These are even more detailed than the Dale figures. They're absolutely stunning models, but fuck me, I wanted to fucking rip my eyes out painting these up. There's so many fine gold details on these that I was properly wanted to stab myself in the face. So if you do want me to do a video on the Knights of Dale and maybe the heroes and stuff, let me know and I'll buy some myself. I do like the idea of a full Knights of Dale army. Here is some pictures of the Dale guys with my kind of normal basing scheme that I would do. I think they also turned out really well.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed this different take on a painting video. I just wanted to share with you the different techniques, thought processes, tools, etc. that I use when I'm batch painting all these miniatures. I know it did get a bit preachy and even a little bit depressing at the end there, but I think that's just because I've been sick again, so I do apologise about that, just ignore me. I'm not saying the way that I do things is the correct way, it is almost certainly not. So I had quite a few comments over the last few months asking how it is I'm able to do these massive miniature batch paints, and I just wanted to share with you guys how I do that. So let me know in the comments what you think. Did you learn anything from this, or am I just a big sack of wind and I should just go shut my face and just paint stuff for you? Up to you guys. Let me know in the comments. I do love responding to them. It's one of the best parts of the old YouTubes. Yeah. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to give my bell a good old ring.
Wow. I wonder if this will work. Right, where do I need to stand again? So if I'm sitting here, I need to stand right here. I think my t-shirt's on inside out. The fuck's... Oh fuck, how'd I take... Oh. Fuck me, man.
An elephant never forgets.
Jesus fucking Christ. Right, so stand. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm talking here, I need to stand. Yeah, so nothing to Bucky. Which could you use it? Use you. Oh, why did I use duct tape? Wee ginger hairs. Right. Yeah, let's just end that. I'm fucking... That was hard work for a 2-second joke, I tell you that.
I just assumed that they would be the same as the old Lord of the Rings stuff, but I was a lot wrong. A lot wrong.
By the time I actually started to use it... Fuck. How am I out of breath from talking, man? This fucking disease.
Alright, troops, today I'm going to be sharing up some fucking fuck. Alright, guys, today we're going to be fucking fuck. I swear to God, I am fucking terrible at this. Alright, guys. Fucking end me now. Alright, guys. Alright, troops, today we're going to be going over some Dale. I've had to paint up fucking this, not the intro. Alright, troops, today I'm going to be helping you out with fucking fuck! Alright, troops, today I'm going to be helping you out with loads of... Right, I'm writing this down. I need to write this down.
I find it, it's hard enough to finish, one colour on a... Oh, it's fucking disease! Jesus bloody Christ! Man, this should be such an easy video, but it's taking me so many takes because I'm just fucking diseased, right? So, if you've been watching my channel for a while, oh fuck, where are we at? I forgot where we were at. I've been going for 5 minutes.